Hello and welcome to Data After Hours. I'm your host, Eric Balish, and today we're diving beyond the world of data to explore the personal passions of another incredible guest. Joining me is Alexa Garrison, Vice President of Data and Business Operations at Splice. Splice is a platform that helps music creators bring their ideas to life by offering a massive sound library, AI-powered tools for discovering the perfect sound, and a unique marketplace for music gear. Beyond her work in data and business strategy, Alexa is also passionate about mentorship and education, where she teaches young students the basics of data visualization, storytelling, and dashboard building in Tableau. But tonight, we're setting work aside to get to know Alexa beyond data and music, so grab your favorite after-hours beverage, settle in, and let's meet the person behind the data. This is Data After Hours. Hey, Alexa, welcome to the show.
Hey, Eric. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. My Alexa just went off in the background as I said your name. I'm sure
classic.
That happens all the time to you.
All the time at work, all the time in life. Yeah, all the time.
Oh, man. Cool. Well, I'm really excited to have you on today. I think, what we're going to talk about is definitely some of the most unique hobbies and interests that we've had on the show. So we'll get there in just a second. But before we do that, we'd love for you to share with our audience just your contribution to the data analytics space and kind of what you do.
Yeah. So I am the Vice President of Data and Business Operations at Splice. I have been in the data world for quite some time, but it kind of came here in a roundabout journey. I actually started my career as an actuary and realized what I liked about it was actually some of the partnership work and data work. I didn't love as much of the independent kind of like by yourself type of work. So I found my way into data at a job at WeWork, and I was working with a lot of smart people there. Kind of learned that it's not just analytics, but there's data engineering and analytics engineering and data science, and learned so much about the career that way. And I've just kind of been sticking with it ever since. And I've really enjoyed I think the teamwork aspect of it. And like I kind of mentioned before, like the storytelling portion of it. I think that's where it's really powerful, is kind of connecting the math and statistical side to actually like what's practical for the business and how we can actually use it in real life. So that's my story.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super cool. I know we got to collaborate on some Tableau stuff back in the day, and I know you have volunteered in the past teaching Tableau. So still working with Tableau, or kind of working with a whole mix of BI tools now?
Now, kind of a whole mix of BI tools. We have a different stack at my company, Splice. We actually use Looker and Hex mostly for our work. But what I've noticed is a lot of it is once you kind of figure out the tool, the real skill there, again, is like kind of being able to tell the story. And one thing that I loved working together with you on when you were kind of contracting is you did a really great job of, I felt like I learned a lot from you, honestly, in the way that you were able to kind of set up like some really complicated like definitions of things. Like a lot of times you probably see at work, like so many people are using maybe a word like revenue and it means different things to different people. And I always felt like no matter what the tool is, it's really important to make sure it's super clear, like what you're actually showing, who the audience is, and really why they should even be looking at something like this. And it's so easy to just get caught up in the SQL and trying to make sure all the data is there. But if you don't actually take that last mile of really visualizing it in a really clear way and presenting it in a clear way, it's kind of like all of the work you've done, to get it to that point is useless. So, so kind of like no matter what the tool, you just got to make sure it's super clear. So we're a Looker shop now, but I feel like there's so many different analytics tools out there that I'm kind of just learning them all.
Yeah. No, thanks for that, and I totally agree. I mean, I think I've said this before, and like a lot of the presentations I've done at Tableau Conference all around design, and my old boss Chantilly used to say, she takes care of her grandmother, and she's like, any dashboard I build, if my grandma can't use it, it's not a good dashboard. And I think I've said that multiple times on this podcast, but it's so true, because you could, we can all build things in whatever BI tool that is, but if people can't understand it, it's confusing. You're not going to be able to draw any conclusions from it, and they'll just download the data and do their own analysis, and who knows where it could go from there. So, totally. The design and making sense of things, I think, is the most important. Um,
Yeah.
cool. Well, enough about work. Let's get into
Mm.
just some of your hobbies and interests. So, Pump Town, which no one on the call probably knows what that is right now, but I hope they're all excited about it
Just wait.
afterwards. Yeah, let's tell me about Pump Town and what kind of game it is and just kind of your journey there.
Yeah, so I guess I'll take like a step back of I've kind of always been interested in playing games and kind of grew up playing games with my family and friends and have always really loved that. And I do think there's more of a creative side to me as well, even though data and, originally being an actuary, studied math is really just very technical and very specific skill set. But there's always been kind of this creative side to me and this creative outlet. And I thought, I don't, it's kind of funny. It's like I had always talked about wanting to start a game, and then one time a friend was like, "Well, why don't you just make one?" And then that was kind of enough to start it. So we basically were playing game with a regular deck of cards, and I just kind of started making up rules as we were playing, and just the day just kind of evolved, and we were just making up different rules to the point where it became a totally different game than what we originally started playing. And we were having fun, and we are with a group of friends, and then we're like, why don't you just try to make something out of this? So it's kind of been basically 2 years since I started Pump Town. But the way that it really originated was I was with this group of friends from our hometown, which is in Edison, New Jersey. And there is this like unincorporated like part of the town called Pump Town. And for some reason, that name just kind of stuck because I was with my friends from home, and that's where the name came from. And it was basically this old town pump that used to be in like the center of the town. And somehow that stuck. And even all the branding and the design is all kind of like a little bit New Jersey themed, but more like there's gasoline pumps, different types of pumps.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of got out of hand really quickly, but in a great way. So I like love it's kind of like really cool design, not like really minimalist, or it's basically the opposite of that. It's basically maximalist type of design, just fun, creative. But yeah, the way the game actually works is it's a dedicated deck card game. So it's its own deck of cards with numbers 0 to 12. And you're really just trying to get the lowest score out of your competitors. And you also can win pump cards after every round, and you can either attack people or protect yourself. So it's a little bit of a game of like, I love, like I said, I love games. It has like some elements of hearts, some elements of golf, like the card game golf, even some elements of Survivor, like the TV show, kind of like protecting yourself. You can't do too well, but you can't, you can't fall too behind. You kind of have to make sure you're never a threat to other people, otherwise they'll start attacking you. So it takes a lot of elements from different games to really just make it good for a big range of people, and also just like I've played with my 5-year-old nephew, I've played with my 85-year-old grandma. It kind of works across the board.
Awesome.
So it's been really fun.
That's so cool. Yeah, I'm definitely interested and probably will go purchase it on your site after this. So it's pumptowncardgame.com.
Yes,
right?
it is. Pumptowncardgame.com. Yeah.
So I know I think you said you started this about 2 years ago, but you launched this on Kickstarter in last October, right? So I guess I'm curious to learn about your experience with Kickstarter and just how that went. And obviously it was a successful launch, so congratulations. Would just love to kind of know your journey with that.
Yeah, it was really, I kind of went back and forth for a while because I've never done something like this before. And you can read a ton of like, Reddit threads and forums about the best way to kind of launch anything, not just a game, but just anything. And I had enough people kind of saying, well, if you just do family and friends, you can reach out to people, they can buy it that way. Maybe that's how you can kind of get your funding to actually produce the game if you get a bunch of pre-orders. But I ultimately went with Kickstarter after kind of talking to enough people that have done something similar. I just kind of poked around LinkedIn, talked to some friends, like, do you know anyone that's done a Kickstarter before, and tried to learn about their experience. I'd say the pro is that you have your own landing page basically, and you can kind of easily send the link out to people. They give you an opportunity to really tell your story, show a video, show pictures, and really kind of offer something for people contributing. So people are essentially pre-ordering your game, and that's helping fund the production. So I had, I even made custom hats for some merch just because I thought that would be fun. And then we of course have the game and stickers and, a Spotify playlist, and it just a lot of different kind of rewards tiers, which I thought were probably more appealing than just asking a bunch of people for money. So I thought that was really great. Again, like one of the cons is, of course, that they take a fee, but that's how they have to run their business. So
Hmm.
I thought I actually had a very positive experience with Kickstarter. I would definitely recommend if somebody was starting a brand or a company or something where they needed some kind of like money to get started. It was
Hmm.
definitely a good way to do it. And yeah, the fulfillment process then through Kickstarter was nice because like people contributed and then they give you your addresses and then it's kind of up to you
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
to kind of get it to the finish line. So it's kind of funny. It's you spend all this time making the Kickstarter, and then if it's successful, you're like, oh gosh, now I need to send 500 games out,
Hmm.
and that's
Yeah,
and then
that is
that's what your
so
life
cool.
is.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
yeah, I've backed some things on Kickstarter before, and just like so many like random things. But it is cool, like the platform itself, because I would catch myself on there, like, oh, let me check this, and it's you get
yeah.
introduced to so many of these cool things that people are creating. So that's awesome. So now that the game is out in the world, I guess what's your next steps for growing the business?
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest challenge right now. So I had ordered 500 of them from a manufacturer. I had a little bit of a manufacturing snag at first, where the original company I was working with couldn't do that type of volume. So then I had to kind of
Hmm.
pivot. And so it's kind of this like balance of inventory, the whole supply demand side of things, but then also the marketing side. So I'm getting people are playing and they're with friends and then they're playing and they're going to the website to buy the game, and it's been really fun. But I really haven't spent any time or money on marketing yet. It's really just been word of mouth, people playing, which is great. But I would love to get it to a point where we can scale and like really start marketing it. I would love to have it like on Instagram, TikTok, just like some
Hmm.
more videos and content. It's a little hard with the day job because this
Yeah.
becomes
Oh,
my
for sure.
5 to 9, or my
Hmm.
weekends. So it's not super easy to scale something and to really kind of spend so much time on the business when work, takes up most of my time.
Hmm.
But it's been really fun and it's a fun hobby, and I would love to scale this more. I think the big thing that I'm looking into right now is kind of like warehouse storage. So fulfillment's like third party fulfillment, where I could just send all of the games directly to them and they fulfill the orders. You get a Shopify account and just kind of get the flywheel
Hmm.
going. Um, because I actually by hand fulfilled all the 500 games that I
Okay,
originally
yeah, that
sold to
was
the
going to be my next
Kickstarter.
question. So I can't go to
Yes.
Amazon right now and like purchase
No,
it. This is all you behind the scenes doing
this
everything.
is all me behind the scenes. Yeah. So if you put an order through, it's literally me taking my little mailer like that, those like padded envelopes, and stuffing the game in there and throwing some stickers in and sending it to you. So
Oh my
definitely
gosh.
not scalable, but kind of works.
Hmm.
It's a funny thing. It's a good experience to have. I know I didn't have to do that from the get go, but in a way, I also, quality control, and
Hmm.
I'm just super passionate about this, and I didn't want anything to get messed up. I need to make sure that like every game looked right. It was, in there. It has stickers. It was packed
Hmm.
nicely, and gets to the people that I need. So kind of a control thing for me at first, but now I
Yeah.
think, as I want to scale, I probably have to think about a better solution. Otherwise, my apartment turns into a warehouse. So
Yeah.
can't really
Oh
have
my
that going on.
gosh. Well, that is super exciting. I think this is super cool,
Yeah,
and I'm definitely going to go purchase it. We love all different card games and strategy games like that, so I'm excited to be a Pump Town user.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. Well, I'm definitely will be following along now just to kind of see how it goes, and wishing you all the best success with that.
Thanks so
Want to hop
much.
into one of your other interests? So I know, so in addition to your job, in addition to Pumptown, you also love pop culture and have a pop culture newsletter, right?
Yes, yes. I don't even know how I really have time. So the pop culture newsletter is really just for fun. Like it is just so
Mhm.
fun for me. I love pop culture. I love music, and luckily I work at a music company. And I really just funny celebrity gossip, whatever it is, or
Mhm.
just like anything going on in the world, I kind of want to know about it. And it actually originally started because a few years ago, my husband doesn't know. He's the opposite of me. He doesn't know anything about pop culture. And I felt like I was constantly, giving him updates on things. And, he'd be talking to friends, they'd mention something, and he'd have no idea what they're talking about. And so I kind of, as a joke, was like, well, you are great with your email and you read all of these other newsletters, like these business newsletters, right? So like what if I just kind of like sneak into your inbox with like a pop culture one? So it was just a joke at first for my husband. and then somehow he sent it to a few friends, and people were like, wait, this is actually pretty, like, this is good. I didn't even know about this stuff.
Oh my
And I was like, hey,
gosh.
I guess if I'm already writing it, I might as well send it to friends and family and other
Mhm.
people. So I have a nice little group of people that read my newsletter, which is fun.
Yeah.
So I cover things like, in the beginning of the year, I make an in and out list. It's very
Mhm.
light and kind of jokey, but like what's in, what's out for the year. I talked about different things that pop up, whether it's something that's happening at the Grammys or something that's happening at the Super Bowl, or kind of talk about those types of things. And then I kind of like to do, when I can, not that I'm an expert on it, but a little bit of like Gen Z, Gen Alpha pop culture, like
Mhm.
what's going on with the younger generations. I always think
Mhm.
that stuff
All
is
the
fun
new
and
lingo,
fascinating.
like Skibidi Riz
Exactly.
and all that stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I did talk about that. So that's really just for fun. That's probably it's my lowest priority, but it's probably the most fun. It's just whenever I can get around to it. There's really no specific cadence on like, oh, I send it out every Monday. It's just kind of whenever inspiration strikes, I just write
Mhm.
something and send it out. So if in a way, it's almost like a fun surprise for the
Mhm.
for the
Yeah.
newsletter subscribers. They just never know when it's going to come.
Yeah.
It just
That's
hits
so
their
cool.
inbox.
Do you have like
Yeah.
a site for it, or is it just if we go through your LinkedIn, is there a link there to
So
sign up for the
actually,
newsletter?
there should be, but on my pumptowncardgame.com website, that actually filters into the newsletter. There's a place to give your email, and I actually send my newsletter there. I
Oh,
sometimes talk about
nice.
Pumptown, but I mostly talk about random stuff. So yeah, I should probably do a better job marketing it. It kind of started just as a fun thing, but
Mhm.
it gained a little bit of traction. So it's just, again, it's like a nice way to use the creative side of me if my
Yeah.
days are mostly more technical and more,
Mhm.
very data sciencey. Now I can kind of expand beyond that and think about all my, yeah, just kind of all the different creative outlets.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's why I love doing this podcast, because we interact with each other, colleagues, and it's always business talk. And yeah, you talk about what you did over the weekend and things like that. But I think one thing that we don't get to know enough about each other is our hobbies and interests, and these are all of our passion projects, things that we like doing. And so, like you said, it's the lowest priority, but it's fun, and it makes it so much easier to do. And so that's really cool. Um,
Yeah.
is on the topic of your pop culture newsletter, do you have like a favorite pop culture icon, like somebody that you would like your dream person to go and have dinner with,
Oh, that's a great
past or
question.
present?
There there are people so I am one of the world's biggest Bad Bunny fans. I've
Oh,
seen him in
okay.
concert 8 times.
Wow.
I've traveled kind of around the US to go see him in concert. Like, so I'm a huge Bad Bunny fan. So that would be like, ultimate. If I can get dinner with anyone, it would be Bad
Hmm.
Bunny. Um, but the other things that I kind of love is I watch like some garbage TV shows to really just kind of, drain
Mm-hmm.
after a draining day, just kind of like turn your brain off. And sometimes they're just like, I love Survivor. So
Okay.
certain like characters from Survivor. I'm a Boston Rob fan. He's now on
Oh my
Traitors.
gosh, Boston
I don't
Rob,
know if
that
you know
is
the
like
show.
a blast from the past. Oh my goodness. I
So it's like
watched Survivor
yeah.
like not very inconsistently, like growing up, but man, Boston Rob is the throwback for sure.
Big throwback. So there's just like a few like I'd say like reality TV characters that I'm just fascinated by. Um and whether it's like from The Bachelor or Survivor or kind of any of these types of shows, Amazing Race, like these are like some classics I watched growing up. And then also now like Love Island UK, Love Island
Hmm.
America, like just really dumb shows that are just so fun and great. I feel like certain characters from there would be a hoot. Like it'd be fun to kind of meet up with them
Yeah.
in real life.
I
So
think I went to school with somebody on Love Island, Ovi
no
Soko.
way.
Yeah, he played
Oh,
basketball at
okay.
Duquesne.
Yeah.
He was, I
Wow.
think he was on Love Island. Yeah.
I love it. It's such a funny show. I mean, it's like 60 episodes or something ridiculous. Like I think it's just basically it's essentially a live feed for two
Mhm.
weeks and they make them all into episodes. And it's just a really funny, like mindless thing, but it's addicting. You can just
Yeah.
really get sucked in.
Yeah, that's
But it's
awesome.
fun.
Well, you definitely
Yeah.
have a new follower here for your newsletter for Pumptown. So
Yes.
hopefully,
Nice.
out of the podcast, we get a little bit more traction there as well. But wishing you all the best with Pumptown and success there. That is super
Thank
cool.
you.
Before we wrap up, just a few more questions. I have some rapid fire questions here. So this or that style, just 5 or 6 here. So I think you've probably answered some of these along the way, but we'll see if we'll see what you say.
Okay.
Board games or video games?
Board games.
Board games. I
Yeah,
kind of knew that one.
got to.
Big blockbuster movie or indie film?
Ooh, I would actually say indie film.
Indie film, okay.
Indie film, yeah. I think it's fun to just like they're more like just hidden gems that you're like, ooh, I like wasn't expecting to like this so much. So yeah, I'd say indie films.
It might have a rotten score of like 30, but it hit home. It was a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
90s pop culture or 2000s pop culture?
Ooh. Oh, that's actually a hard one. I would say 2000s pop culture because that was probably more my peak life, but I know a surprising amount about 90s hip hop pop culture because I went down a few rabbit holes, but I'd still say 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we probably know this one. Strategy game or party game?
Strategy game, I think.
Okay. Pumptown strategy game.
Yep.
Writing a newsletter or recording a podcast?
Yeah, this is my first podcast I've ever recorded, and this is pretty fun. I might have to say recording a podcast. This is a blast.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is like a very easy, like light conversation. It's about passion projects, which everybody could talk about forever. But like, if it's like really heavy, like data specific, like I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I'd say recording a podcast asterisk has to be a fun podcast.
The last rapid fire question: classic Hollywood icons or today's biggest stars?
I think today's biggest stars.
I
think it's fun. It's fun. It's just fun, like having things kind of, I don't know, people just rising out of nowhere and just becoming really popular. I think that's got to be my answer.
Yeah, I think I would go with classic Hollywood icons. I'm a big Elvis fan. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I respect it a lot. I do.
Yeah.
I just think I'm more like, ooh, who's coming up next? Like that's just kind of how I am.
Mm-hmm. All right. Last question that I've been asking everybody this season. What is one hobby or skill you've always wanted to try but haven't yet?
So I have to say, I think DJing. I love music. I have always been really into it. I'm all about the lore and everything about just different feuds and everything going on. That's besides the point. I just love music, and I feel like I would love to try that. I just haven't. It's a little daunting at first because you need like the equipment and just all of this different software and hardware. And but now that I'm working at Splice, which is a music company, it should be a lot easier for me to start. And I have a few people that I work with that do that. So I think that would just be a fun little hobby and something that I could, learn at home potentially. Yeah,
for sure. In a few episodes, I am going to have somebody on that also DJs on the side. It's their hobby. So you'll have to tune in for that episode. But Alexa, it was great having you on today. This was one of my favorite episodes so far, and thank you so much for sharing Pumptown and just your interest in pop culture, and wishing you all the best with that.
Thanks so much, Eric. I had such a fun time. I got to do this again.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Data After Hours. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more fascinating stories from the data world and beyond. Until next time, stay curious and good night.